Are the goals that you're setting for yourself meaningful to you? Hello, my name is Stephanie. I'm a therapist in Long Island, New York that specializes in the treatment of eating disorders and body image issues. If you liked this video at the end or found it helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing if you're interested in learning more about eating disorders, body image issues, general mental health and well-being, and therapeutic tools. This video is a part of basically a mini series about goal setting and achieving goals that you actually want to achieve. And this video is all about creating meaningful goals to you. So a major reason why people may not be achieving their goals is because they're setting goals that are truly not meaningful to them. A lot of us set long-term goals and short-term goals. And what happens when we do this, which is we should be doing this, but the problem is when we're not including our short-term goals, keeping in mind the long-term goals, then we kind of create this this ground to make it very not meaningful to us. So the short-term goals might be something that you want in the very, very short term, but it's not going to really help you get to your long-term goals, and that might not really be meaningful to you. And therefore, if it's not meaningful to you, it really creates it a very hard and difficult atmosphere for you to actually achieve that goal. So why is that? Well, goals are work. It does take a lot of work and diligence in order to achieve the goals we're hoping to achieve. And if we don't really have a meaning, it's not meaningful to us, we're not really going to be inclined to do work for something that's really not going to give us a very good return, because it's not something that we're really wanting very deeply. The answer to this is to really sit down and think about what your long-term goals are and what your short-term goals are, and seeing how the short-term is going to help you get into the long-term. And I'll talk a little bit more about that and doing that toward the end of this video. The short-term goals are typically more of the, for lack of a better word, superficial type of goals, and ones that tend to be more likely to not really be in line with what's meaningful to us. I'm going to talk about the 3 questions that you can ask yourself to really deduct whether or not that the goal that you're setting is meaningful for you. So the first question to ask yourself is this short-term goal in line and going to help me to achieve my long-term goal? 2, if you have watched any videos before on goal setting, they're going to say to talk about your why. So the why, and the question that you need to ask yourself is, why do I want to achieve this goal? This is the why. What is the meaning to you that you want to be achieving this goal? So let's say it's going to a really, really great college, and you ask yourself what the why is to you, and then you really figure out that the why is because your parents want you to go, and there's absolutely very little desire on your part to go. That's going to make that goal very hard for you to achieve. Your why really isn't there. That's going to help fuel your goal. And the last question to ask yourself is, and this is something that you just need to be so honest with yourself, just being very blunt, is this goal meaningful to me? And you need to allow yourself to have all those feelings come up and really listen to yourself. Don't try to shut down things, really just let it all come out. And that's going to help you to determine whether or not that goal is meaningful to you. Here the question lies, then how do you set meaningful goals? And the first step is typically what a lot of people will do, is just writing down all the goals that you actually want to be achieving, everything that comes to your mind. And then take some more time and really look through it all. I would make sure that you're making long-term goals and short-term goals. And then ask yourself those questions and being honest with yourself and going through each and every single one. Really, how it should look is that your short-term goals are going to help you to achieve the long-term goals. So what some people will do, let's say if you're trying to, save for a house in 10 years, you might be thinking that's so far off and then you don't have to worry about it now, but goals take a really long time to achieve sometimes, especially long-term goals. That's inherently in their name. So when you need to make a long-term goal happen, you do need to be making short-term goals. So even though it's 10 years away, you might need to start, thinking about what job you're going to have in order to make sure you make the money that you can save for that. What is a down payment that you're looking to have? And then how are you going to save for that? So even though it's 10 years away, that's 10 years of goal setting that you need to be doing. That sounds overwhelming, but it's really not. It's going to be the best for you to not be overwhelming, or to be the least overwhelming as possible, because you're breaking it down into manageable time frames and manageable things that you need to be doing. Something that personally works for me, and I think it could be really helpful for you, is when you're thinking about all these goals, then I'll start to set it, okay, what is what I want to achieve in the year, because as you know, we're coming up on 2019, so what are my 2019 goals? And then what I do then is break it into quarters. So right now, then I'm only thinking about the first quarter, it's like January to like March, beginning of April, and really think about what it's going to take for me to achieve the long-term 2019 goals that I can reasonably do and start working on in the first quarter, because it gives me not only like enough time to be achieving these mini goals, and it's not too far ahead where I'm like, oh, I could put it off and I could start working on it in July or August, because when we do that and when we have like these longer term goals, it's very easy for us to put it off. And you might want to, I would encourage you actually to create SMART goals and create mind maps with this. If you want to do the long term, short term, if you want to do them all and get crazy, go ahead and do it. But what's super, super important is flexibility. I will always be talking about flexibility, because flexibility is such a huge thing that could be such an amazing attribute that a person can have, or it could be a person's downfall. So flexibility in terms of goal setting is that you need to acknowledge that sometimes things just don't work. That's not something that's bad. That's nothing that's, you know, a reflection on you. It's just that it doesn't work. And with that, when I said about creating quarterly goals or monthly or whatever is going to work for you, for me, when I say quarterly, I'll look at every week, like, okay, what's working, what's in line, what's actually moving me toward my goal. And if it's not working, then okay, new game plan, and that's totally okay. And that doesn't mean I have to change everything. It's just that that little part of it isn't really working the way I had anticipated. And that's part of it. And that will absolutely happen when you're working on goal setting, because life happens, and we only can plan for what we know, and in achieving goals we are often playing in the unknown. So with that, and you know, just being an individual person, some things are going to work better than others, but what's really amazing is when you're flexible with it, you can really you know, work with the goals to create it to actually working for you. With all that said, I really hope that you found this video helpful and inspiring. If so, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. I talk about all this type of stuff in my blog, and I'll leave a link in the description below. Feel free to check it out. And you might want to check out the other videos if this was helpful for you, about my my goal setting techniques. Leave a comment down below. What is your major 2019 goal that you're hoping to achieve? Thank you for tuning in again, and I wish you happy goal setting on your journey to finding your state of balance. And I hope to see my next video.